All right, guys. Birth of the Dragon. Have you seen the movie? Maybe you love it, maybe you hate it. Bruce Lee versus Wong Chap-man. How much of that is the truth? How much of that is fiction? Today I have Steve Octavio with me joining us. We're going to talk about the movie. So, Sifu, what do you think of the movie overall? Do you love it? Do you hate it?
You know, that's a good question. It's quite interesting, and I don't like to really say anything negative or anything positive. I say somewhere in the middle. You know,
some parts are good, some parts are like,
you know, 3.5 stars. How about
yeah,
that?
3.5. That's good. That's good. Well, just since we're like, of course, we're both like big Bruce Lee fans. Anything that's Bruce Lee related, we'll go see. We went to see it.
Right.
And now I think the question people have is, first of all, how much of that is accurate? Because in the movie, Philip, the actor, the way that he portrays Bruce is almost like a very arrogant, kind of like an arrogant young, almost like a punk kind of feel. So how much of that is accurate from your perspective?
Well, I think maybe 15% of it is accurate. I think a lot of the story was built around the director's vision of how he wanted the movie. Because it's all about entertainment.
Correct. It's not about like how accurate compared to history and all that.
Yeah, I mean, you really think about it. I mean, you're gonna have to go through a series of things to make a movie, and it gets boring. It'd be like a drama film, and then you fall asleep.
Correct.
So they wanted some action in there, and they wanted some a twist to the story, and to make it a little bit more pizzazz, I guess.
I do think the accent is pretty good.
I just got a call from one of my students, Vinny Wei, Steve McKee's friend.
I think the character itself, I
very
think
thick accent, right?
Right,
it's
I think
good.
Philip did a really good job as far as portraying the actor. Bruce Lee. But as an actor, I think he did a great job.
And one thing I do like is at least they found Philip, because Philip's got a Wing Chun background. He's been a martial instructor for many years.
Right.
So they actually found like a Kung Fu person to play this role versus like someone who has no Kung Fu background trying to be like Bruce, and it's not as good, right? So that I think I give credit to the team, to the director, producer, right?
I totally agree. His background stems from Wong Chun Leung.
Yeah.
And so that's a strong point in the film.
In case you don't know, Wong Chun Leung is also the one who taught Bruce Lee Wing Chun, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he, therefore, what he showed on film was pretty accurate as far as the Wing Chun is concerned. Now, I mean, you see scenes where he's flying in the air. Again, that's dramatic effects. But other than that, the Wing Chun looked pretty good.
And I think, but one thing that I don't like the film, the part that I don't like is it portrays Bruce is like this immature person that's like into fighting and just like so arrogant and this and that, versus Wong Chap-man is this monk and philosopher. But that's not quite the story, because as a Bruce Lee fan, we know it's when Bruce was teaching martial art to non-Chinese, and it upsets the Chinese martial community. And the true history, the story is they sent Wong Chap-man to challenge Bruce, basically, hey, you know what, you cannot teach. If you teach, we're gonna kick your ass, right?
Right.
Shut down the school, and that's how they got into the fight. It wasn't like Wong Chap-man such a philosopher trying to teach this young guy a lesson. It wasn't anything like that.
Not at all. I think they extracted the philosophy part and put it onto Wong Chap-man in the film, and it seemed like they wanted to connect both of them.
Correct.
To then, I would say, transform Bruce's vision of the martial arts and actually his own attitude and character.
Correct.
Whereas actually in real life, Bruce was the
philosopher.
The philosopher.
Yeah, he was a thinker. He was the philosopher.
Because
he took philosophy when he was in university. Keep in mind, that was his major.
Right. And I think that's what kind of threw me off. I'm like, what? They're portraying as Bruce Lee as an immature individual.
Right.
He may have been young. Of course, everybody that's at a immature age thinks irrationally sometimes and things like that. But he was way ahead of his time.
Yeah, but one thing Bruce, like when I talk to people studying under Bruce does have a hot temper. That's true. That is true.
Yeah,
he does like to get into fights and stuff like that.
Right.
What about the fight itself? About like they were doing, of course, for Hollywood, jumping and flying kick and doing all that stuff and all that. Of course, it's not like that. What was the fight like?
My teacher, he ended up saying that he spoke about the fight, and he said that he just felt that he ran out of gas. It was just a simple conversation. It wasn't like a big dramatic effect, like, oh my God, I got into this fight. But he expressed that that Bruce Lee was, just winded. He says that I needed to change it up, and it was no specific details in the way the story was shared to me. But more or less, if you see Linda Cadwell's interview, Linda Lee Cadwell, you would actually see the honesty and the truth come out of her own words, and I believe that's the strongest truth out there today.
And I think that fight taught Bruce something. He incorporated then more fitness training, also now then changed the way he approached martial art, which is in a way is the birth of Jeet Kune Do, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I
that
think
fight.
Again, Linda's telling the story about how the fight actually happened was that he was chasing the other individual. Because, I mean, you can imagine the straight blast, and if you've seen Dan's videos of the straight blast, you're chasing after people, or at least you're maintaining contact. And so when you're flooded with all that firepower, you just can't escape.
Correct.
So you can imagine him like trying to get away from him. So we don't know exactly what it looked like, but I can imagine him just doing a lot of punches, whether it looked like this or like this. He was probably just hammering away and probably doing low kicks the whole time. But that's the extent of it, and it took a while. He said the guy started turning around and he started hitting the back of the head a lot.
Makes sense.
So, but that's as much as I can understand on how that fight went. We weren't there, so we're hearing it, second half, third hand?
Second hand, yeah.
That's all we're getting. But I said the most accurate truth is coming out of Linda's mouth. I
agree. So, Birth of the Dragon, do you like it? Do you hate it? Comment below. Maybe share with us your perspective. What you like about the movie, what you don't like about the movie. As a Bruce Lee fan, hey, anything Bruce Lee is all good. I hope they keep making more Bruce Lee movies. We'll keep going to those movies. So comment below and share with us your thoughts.